Well, I knew Play School had won the 1988 Irish Gold Cup. I didn't know, Paul Nicholls, that it so nearly came down at the last. That was frighteningly close, Paul. We just relived it. How are you? And take us back to that.
Well, it was a bit scary. He landed out on his nose. Good job. I used to ride long. I was long-legged. It was an interesting moment. But anyway, he recovered and galloped all the way to the line. So, yeah, that was a nice win. As you said, long time ago.
Yeah, look, it was a little way back, wasn't it? But you're going over to support the meeting and indeed the Irish Gold Cup this year. So first things first, I know we've had the forfeit stage here. You did have two in it, didn't you? Frodon and Clan, and you've taken Clan out and you've just got Frodon going for it. Yeah,
that was only one of them was going to go, and we decided with Clan to go to the Dublin Chase next week in Newbury. If he didn't go there, he'd go for that new race at Kempton that's now a very valuable race. It's worth 150 grand. So he's got a couple of options. Frodon's not quite so easy to place. Obviously, doesn't. So we just thought. I've always thought, funny enough, that this track would suit him really nicely, and it's never too bad a ground. So all systems go for him.
Why will the track suit him nicely? Do you think, Paul?
Well, it's a big galloping track. It all tends to suit him. I think the ground's quite important. And, there wasn't a real target for him over here between now and whenever we want to run him next, really, because he wasn't going to go to Cheltenham. So it's the obvious race to go for. So I was very keen to have a crack at it.
When it became clear that he wasn't going to go to Cheltenham, I think a few people, given his record there, were a little bit surprised. Just sort of reaffirmed the decision there, Paul.
Well, why would you be surprised? In last year's Gold Cup, he got well and truly beaten, finished fifth. And, I mean, he was literally out on his head afterwards. And he doesn't truly get 3.25 miles at Cheltenham in the Gold Cup. And he's not a Ryanair horse now. He's 2 miles. So 3 miles is his trip, really. It doesn't really want much further. You know his style of running. And, you've got to be realistic. And, he's got a great record at Cheltenham when he's been well placed to win those races. But now you've got to be a little bit more selective and try and run him where we feel is the right race on the right day. Same with Clan Desabot. I mean, Clan, there's no point going to Cheltenham with him when you know full well he doesn't act on that track. You've got to go where those horses can perform, really, or have got a chance of winning them. If Frodon was in the Gold Cup, he'd be 33 to 1.
We just saw the closing stages of Down Royal there, where Frodon and Bryony Frost held off Galvin. Much was made then that Manella Indo perhaps needed the run. But, the defeat of Galvin looks very, very strong now. What did you make of the Kempton run? Just the ground niggled him a bit, did it?
Yeah, as you say, that was a good run at Down Royal. I actually think Galvin would very nearly win the Gold Cup. That was a good run. He was ready that day. And again, I thought the track would suit him. 3 miles, perfect for him. Kempton on Boxing Day, obviously the ground turned a little bit softer and more testing. And, of course, Manella Indo took him on. And the fractions they just went too quick over the first 4 or 5 fences. And then he finished very tired. So it didn't really suit. He was not able to really dominate. And I think on better ground, Leopardstown's a little bit easier to ride him. I mean, he doesn't have to make the run. If someone wants to go a good gallop, then they can get on with it. You don't have to ride him that way. You can just ride him as handy as you're happy, really. So we just have a look at what turns up, and I'll leave it to Bryony.
I think there's been a lot of talk about conditions and likely conditions at Leopardstown. We know what happened 3 years ago with all the withdrawals on the day, and we know it's been a very dry January. Is this something actually you're looking to take advantage of because you really think it'll suit your horse?
It's not going to be a disadvantage to him. I think the ground, they've been putting lots of water on. It'd probably be good to soft. It's a dry forecast, so that's perfect for him. And then Leopardstown is always quite decent ground. So that should be ideal for him.
And you're going in search of hopefully a Grade 1 double. Greaneteen headed there for the Dublin Chase?
He's in great order. They both actually scored this morning. He is in good shape. He'll like the slightly better ground. And again, I think he'll like the track. Sandown, which has got, I always think it's a galloping track, suits him. Kempton was a little bit sharp the last day. And I know we ran him too soon, really, but we just felt that Shishkin wasn't going to... We weren't sure that Shishkin was going to run that day. And there was all that he might not. And Shishkin was awesome on the day. And we probably ran a bit flat. And... it was a bit too soon, but whatever happened, he wouldn't have beaten Shishkin anyway. So, being realistic, we just felt if we want to find a nice race for him on decent ground, this would be perfect. So, again, that's why we're there.
Will this horse still have the Queen Mother Champion Chase on his agenda off the back of Dublin?
He will. He ran well in the last. He was only beaten 4 lengths, so he will go there and then head off to Sandown at the end of the season. That's the plan.
I suppose what's really exciting about him, Paul, is he's just turned 8. It feels like he's been around a while, but he's still, relatively speaking, a young horse, isn't he? Yeah,
he is. I mean, it was only 2 years ago that he started chasing. I think off a mark of 132, and look where he's got in that short time. And yeah, he does run some good races. He does enjoy being fresh. And as I said, I think I made an error running so quick at Sandown, at Kempton. But you do like to support the races when they're small fields. He's had time to freshen up. I'd say he was really in good shape this morning in school. He looks good, and again, like Frodon, I do think the track will suit him. So we'll see.
You say you like to support the races when they're small fields. I think the other side of that, Paul, is you like to run your horses, right? This horse has had 3 goes now this season. This will be his 4th start this year. You're really not one to duck a challenge, and I think you've been rewarded with that in the past with the amount of prize money you've got as a result. Is that something you've always sort of had within you throughout your training career? Yeah, you want to try and run them when things are right. And I mean, quite honestly, we didn't really think we'd beat Shishkin if Shishkin was at his very best that day. And I thought if there was a chance perhaps that you might make him go, would have been that day. It was his first run off for a little while. And Nicky hadn't been sure he was quite ready. Well, obviously, he was, and he was very impressive. And I think whatever we do, we have a job to turn that form around anywhere. But he is tough and consistent, and you've got to get on and run him in the races that suit. In that race at Sandown, I remember there was a lot of talk about he and Hitman and where they fit in. Obviously, they had their first start of the season against each other at Exeter as well. Have you changed your opinion about both Greaneteen and Hitman from the start of the season based upon what has happened so far?
Well, I knew Greaneteen would improve enormously for that first run. I targeted him just having ready for his life for the Tingle Creek, which he won. So that was job done, really, as far as we were concerned. He was never going to be able to win off the mark. I didn't feel first time at Exeter. So we used that not as a, just as a prep race, as I said, along to just fine tune him for Sandown. It worked. Hitman ran very well that day and ran even better at Sandown. And I think he's a sort of horse who will run better when the race. He'll run up to the race. He almost idled a little bit in front of Exeter, but he's going to go for the game spirit now, and he's in good shape.
I wondered because he's got that Ascot Chase entry as well. So you're going to stick to 2, are you, with him?
For now, I'm not saying he won't go further later in the season, but it's the obvious race to run him in game spirit. I put him in Ascot just in case anything, we lost next week for weather or anything like that. But he'll run in Newbury. He's in good shape.
Okay. Well, is he very much on your list for Cheltenham, Paul?
He's in the Champion Chase and the Ryanair, so we can see. I'd just see what he does at Newbury before we decide whether we go or whether we wait and go. The race I'm very keen on is a 2.5 mile race at Aintree. I think that would be sort of really perfect for him. But let's make plans after he runs at Newbury, and we'll know what's what.
And then on Saturday, the Scilly Isles as well. That the plan for Pic D'Orhy?
Yeah, always been the plan to go there. He scored this morning, did a lot of jumping, jumped great. He'll love the good ground. That's perfect for him. And yeah, he's ready to go too. Very, very pleased with the way he looks and the preparation. So yeah, looking forward to that race. What
have you made of L'Homme Presse, who heads that market?
Yeah, he's obviously, they're rated the same actually. I think Pic D'Orhy's pound higher than basically both of them. If we hadn't fell at Newbury, we'd have been unbeaten, same as L'Homme Presse. He's very impressive, been progressive. I'm just reading between the lines. I think Venetia would like the ground softer than it probably is at the moment, so there must be a doubt whether he'll turn up or not. But he's been a proper horse, so it would be a very interesting race.
Yeah, I hadn't. If you'd have asked me what they're rated, I'd have said L'Homme Presse would be clear of Pic D'Orhy. And actually,
Why?
As you say, your horse is rated £1 superior.
Why would you say that?
I think because L'Homme Presse was so impressive at Cheltenham, but I appreciate your horse won a Grade 2 at Ascot, but and also because, Paul, L'Homme Presse is a 4 to 5 shot and your boy's 9 to 4.
Yeah, and I think if Pic D'Orhy hadn't fell at Newbury that day, he would have been, down as being impressive as well. And, he's a Betfair hurdle winner. He's just took a while to get his act together, but he's a big horse. He's needed all the time he's had. And I'd say he's just beginning to mature. And, these two are rated, I think, a couple of pounds around about the same mark as Brave Man's Game, which just shows the sort of level of horse they are.
Does he want the better ground, the better for Pic D'Orhy, Paul?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was. Yeah, he probably jumps better on better ground. So, to be honest with you, this forecast for him is absolutely perfect.
Just on you and the yard as a whole, if you look back to trials day, do you feel your horses by and large didn't run quite how you expected them to?
Some of them weren't good enough. Some of them probably underperformed in one or two. But Fabulous didn't stay really, so we'll have to go back and trip with him. But January's always a little bit of a quieter month for us. We're always good February, March, and April. We always stop, have a little break, do the flu jab, and with the ground being a little bit better this year, we pressed on with a few to run that we probably wouldn't have run if the ground had been testing, and we're just not right in top form at the moment. We'll soon get there.
And is that? Do the horses that are jabbed? When the flu debate came about a few years ago, it was pointed out that you've always done it in January.
Yeah.
Does sometimes you find that some of the horses just take a little longer to get over it than some of the others?
I think they probably do. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, it might have been 3 years ago, we'd done everything in January, and then come the middle of February when the Ascot meeting was on, we had 8 winners, and we were sort of flying along. We're in great shape, and we've always, I think sometimes if you run a few in January, you end up getting a few funny results or not performing quite, almost as like it's their first run of the season again. But February, March and April have always been good months for us, and January's always been slow. So we're no different to really what we are. And I think some of the ones on the weekend, you look back and think, well, perhaps as much as I think we're probably quite good enough on the day and on the ground. So they'll have other races in the future for them.
Harry to ride Pic D'Orhy, Bryony riding both the horses in Ireland?
That's the plan, yeah. She's one on those two, so she'll go out there, and Harry will be at Sandown.
Lovely job. Appreciate the update. Thanks ever so much, Paul, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, any time at all. Thank you.
Thanks to Paul Nicholls there for that update. It's good. In search of a Grade 1 treble this weekend with those 3 horses we've touched upon.